I had a startling revelation over the past couple years. And I do mean startling. Even though I, on some level, understood this, maybe I just didn't want to believe that I was seeing what I was seeing. And that is just simply the information age, the, the information that we have available to us on the internet and our children, how it affects our children. I'm not going to be before you long. I just have to get this out. I have witnessed mainly women, but people in general, but mainly women, when I'm out doing my business, when I'm going to work, leaving work. I hate saying this, but it's true. The vast majority of women that I see driving their automobiles are on their cell phone, texting and driving, texting and driving, searching while they're sitting at the stoplight, scrolling, pushing buttons with their head down, looking back up at the light, waiting for it to change. If there were, for example, to give you some sort of guide, if you will, if there were, for example, 100 cars that would drive down past my store, at least 85% of those cars, the driver would be on their phone, especially if it's a woman. When I stand outside my door and I see people standing at the bus stop, walking, they're on the phone, constantly going on the phone. Now, that's concerning. What bothers me even more are children. I see children, teenagers, walking down the street, standing at the bus stop with earphones in and this device here. Heads down. When people come in my store, oftentimes I'll extend a greeting. Hello, how are you today? They don't hear me. They have earphones in, earbuds, some hearing device. They have no clue that I've said anything to them. They come to the counter and I'll wave and say, oh, hi, and they'll pull it out. What message is this sending? And I'm going to say that again in a minute. What message is this sending? When I see children that can't or seemingly behave as if they can't live without this thing here called a cell phone, an iPhone, an Android, Apple phone, something's wrong. I have a stepson, and when he's asleep, he's not asleep. Children should have a time to go to bed, even when they're not in school officially, even when they're doing the online or the virtual schooling at home during the COVID-19. They should still have a regular sleep schedule. Children are not supposed to be up into the wee hours of the night, texting, Googling, watching videos in YouTube, on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. They shouldn't be doing any of that. They shouldn't be playing any video games past a certain time. And who am I? But I'm going to say this. I fault you parents. I fault the parents. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The greatest job that a man or woman will ever have in their life, the greatest job, is raising another child, raising another human being, helping to establish some kind of sense in another human being, giving them guidance, giving them a foundation for life. That's the greatest job you'll ever have because it is incumbent. It is a responsibility that rests upon your shoulders to make sure that your children have a foundation for life so that they can know how to move forward in life and through life. And if you give them a poor and a weak foundation, then you already know what the outcome is going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, stop being lazy. Stop allowing the internet to raise your children. Stop allowing the cell phones and the gaming systems and organizations to raise your children. Stop allowing outside influences outside of your own home raise your children. Stop allowing industries. Stop allowing other people. Stop allowing public schools, private schools, Catholic schools, any other school, churches outside of your home raise your children. It is your duty. It is your responsibility to raise your own children. And it requires something of you. It requires that you stop what you're doing and take the time and raise your children. No excuses. Raise your children. I came home one night from work, and my child, my son, my small child, was on his laptop playing a video game. Nothing wrong with it, but that's every night that I come home. Every night. I understand the expression of the term bored and boredom. You want something else. Sometimes you have to give children something to do instead of them picking up that electronic device and not using the mind that God gave us all to use. This is greater than any device. You know why? Because this created the device, our brain. We are underusing it. We're not using it for the right things. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with entertainment, because there's nothing wrong with entertainment done proportionately. There's nothing wrong with sports. There's nothing wrong with singing, rapping, if it's all in the proper context. But there's something wrong when these are the staple things for your education. Nowadays, you hear people, okay, Google, what's the capital of this? Okay, Google, how do you make a cake? Okay, Google, how do you spell this word? Okay, Google, what's 75 plus 175? Okay, Google. Why is everything Google in your life now? Why is everything Alexa in your life now? Why is everything seemingly AI or artificial intelligence? You need to wake up and you need to realize that we are being pushed intentionally towards artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence is taking over our very biology, and it's not supposed to. We are supposed to be greater than anything outside of us, to include the artificial intelligence. Many people have lost their jobs because of artificial intelligence. If you don't want to pay an extra salary or two, you fire those people, lay them off, and you install a computer that answers the phones. That's one way. There's some restaurants heading towards machines making food and having less servers and cashiers. They have kiosks. They have self-pay centers in a lot of stores now and less cashiers to cut down on salaries. Artificial intelligence is taking over and people are just falling into it, following it, lockstep. There are people who keep their whole life on a phone and won't write anything down anymore. They don't have a phone book, a little black book. It's all in my phone. God forbid you lose your phone. God forbid this phone breaks and you can't retrieve that information. You're stuck. You see, I use both methods. I have the written method, what we used to call hard copy, and the phone. But anyway, back to saving our children from the internet and the video games. It requires us. It really does. Let me tell you something. The most impressionable years of your child, where they're really learning and developing their own personality and self, is from the age of 1 to about 7. When your child hits the age of 8, 9, and 10, they have already developed their own identity, their likes and dislikes, what they will and won't do, what they will refuse to do even. You need to get a hold of your children right now and be the parent that you're supposed to be. Be the mother and the father that you're supposed to be. And your job, your work is not more important than your children. Because honestly, you are working and should be working for your family's future. So, when your child is spending inordinate amounts of time, hours, out of a 24-hour period on the phone and on their, not just cell phone, but their computers, laptops, and their Xboxes and their PlayStation 3s and 4s, where are you at? Where's the education outside of those machines? Those machines can't teach your children real life lessons. You can. The point is, you're not doing it and you don't want to do it because it takes the burden off of you and makes you be freed up to do other things. And usually the things that you're doing are not beneficial in the first place. It's entertainment based. It's hanging out with your boyfriend, girlfriend, going out clubbing, going out experiencing some kind of entertainment, or just chilling in front of the television, watching reality shows and some nonsense, even yourself. Stop living in the same house, separated from everyone. Like the children go one way, mom goes the other way, dad goes the other way, all under the same roof. We're supposed to be together as a family. You have your time to yourself. But our learning and our education is as a unit. This is what you need to do starting today. I've already started. What you need to do starting today is plant your feet firmly on the ground and be the mother and the father that you should be. Your children are yours and no one else's. That's a harsh reality that you need to face and deal with right now. And you need to start today. Grow a pair. That's what you need to do. Because you are going to reap the benefits of doing the right thing as it relates to your children in the future. And conversely, you're going to reap the benefits, which are not really true benefits, for not doing the right thing in the future. And you will have no one to blame but yourself. So as I began to say, stand firmly on the ground on both feet. Make a decision that you will limit the amount of time that your children are on the internet and that they're playing video games. Start doing it now. If you have teenage daughters and sons, they're probably going to hate you because you have let them go too long without you ever intervening, without you ever saying anything, because you have allowed it. Oh well, that's the cost, that's the price of being the mom and the dad. So you must do it, regardless. Either they're in control or you are. See, this is the reality check right here, where the rubber meets the road. And they're not your friends. So all of the attitudes and the tantrums that come behind you telling them no, or you're being limited, or I'm taking this away, so let it be. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what you should have been doing all along. That's what we all should have been doing all along. But we have allowed our children to sort of punk us out. What you will also do is make sure that if your children are online, that you control what they watch online. It is my firm belief that a child that is under the age of 18, they should not have permission and be allowed to surf the internet freely. They should not be on regular YouTube. There's a children's YouTube. That's what they should have started out with until they became an adult. But guess what? You parents, many of you parents, have let them go too far. And in letting them go too far, in a sense, you've created a situation where it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be an uphill battle to reverse that. But that's the price again that you have to pay for not doing what you should have done a long time ago. I get it. You're working two jobs and you don't have the time to spend with your child as you would desire. I get it. You're working one job and a lot of hours. It tires you out and you're exhausted. No energy. You're dealing with a lot of stress in your life, relationships and other things. And you don't have the time to guide your child the way that you really should. I get that. But you know what? You have time to sit down and eat. You have time to go to the grocery store. You have time to go and visit a friend or a family member. You have a time or the time to get on the phone and to talk to whomever, co-workers, friends, family, and so forth. You have some time. Have you ever considered maybe you just simply don't manage your time properly? You need to take some time to yourself the next time that you're off of work and figure out a plan. A plan for your future, but not just simply your future, the future of your children. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm focusing on. Figure out a plan for your children's future. Because if you don't start spending time with your children and raising your own children and guiding your children and taking these external things away from your children that they enjoy and that they are so captivated by, that encompasses the majority of their life to the point where they have no life, If you don't take the time for your children, they won't have a life. Not one of substance. So, let me tell you what I did when I got home one day. It's not the first time, but I'm just going to give you an example of what I did. My son was on the laptop playing a game, Roblox, something he likes. And I called him into the room. And I said, get up here in the bed with Dad. He's sitting alongside me. And I pull out the Bible. And I gave him a quiz. I was asking him questions. We've done this before. But I made a point of doing this particular night. I said, it's quiz day or quiz night. Dad's going to go through some things in the Bible that we've talked about before. I said, where's heaven at? Ask him this question. And I said, who created the heaven and the earth and things like this. I want to not just simply by way of the Bible, but other things, educational wise. I want to keep my son's mind open and stimulated to real knowledge, real world knowledge, and not artificial intelligence raising him instead of me. I want to have interaction with my son and let him know that I, his father, am here for him. And I want to be able to see him in front of me, beside me. I want my son to know that I have a vested interest in him, that I care, that I love him through the interaction. Note that I said interaction. I want to be able to touch him, to feel his presence, and him feel my presence alongside him. Notwithstanding the issues with COVID-19, we're not talking about that. We're talking about reality. We're talking about life, real life, as it relates to communication with our children and teaching our children, as opposed to some outside source teaching our children. No one has the responsibility to teach us but us. You want me to say that again? No one has the responsibility to teach us but us. That which belongs to you, ladies, your children that came out of your womb, you teach them. And dads who cause those children to be, you teach them. We are the reason they are here, and we must be the reason they succeed and not fail. Stop letting artificial intelligence in the form of cell phones, game systems, internet, Google, YouTube, TikTok, all of these other external forces teach and influence your children more than you can influence your children. It's going to be difficult because that's the age that we're in right now. But what doesn't have to be true is that they get lost in the shuffle because of modern technology. Because before there was ever any internet, there was us. Don't forget this, ladies and gentlemen. Monitor your children online and on these devices. Limit the amount of time that they're online and on these devices. And you fill the rest of the space. I would say an hour, no longer than 2 hours online, depending on what they're doing and what they're playing. And that's it. And you need to let them know in no uncertain terms that these are the rules. That's it. And that's all. Let me know what you think about this video, or what you think about this particular subject, and if you've implemented any sort of program with your own children, and how it went. How difficult was it to change your children and get them on another way of thinking, another path, which should really be the appropriate path. That's it.